Good evening and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting on January 21st, 2014. It's a pleasure to be here. It seems like it's been a while. We had a missed meeting earlier in the month, so welcome back, gentlemen. We will begin tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Ron Waldrop and an invocation by Pastor Howard Tello of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Please rise.
Please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we thank you so much for the opportunity that you've granted us to be here as leaders of this community. Bless us as in this meeting we pray in the name of Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Waldrop, and Mr. Tello, thank you. May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Linder.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Pryor.
Here.
Councilmember Miller.
Here.
Councilmember Knorr.
Here.
Councilmember Waldrop.
Here.
Thank you very much. First item on the agenda tonight is a public hearing. It's a report and resolution approving updated CDBG program income reuse plan, program guidelines for the home buyer program and housing rehab program, and the transfer of RLF funds. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. CDBG program regulations require that every jurisdiction receiving CDBG funds have an approved program income reuse plan along with an approved program guidelines for all programs being administered with the funds. The previous PI plan and guidelines that the city had in place were out of date and all needed to be rewritten and approved so that the programs offered with these funds can start to market and get up and running. Having these items updated and approved will also assist to show readiness for the upcoming CDBG application for 2014 if we are awarded housing funds. The transfer of funds from TARP revolving loan fund is to allow the city to move away from business lending at this time as recommended by the CDBG program, as the TARP program does not comply with the current CDBG business lending standards. These funds will transfer into homebuyer RLF in order to be utilized with newly approved program guidelines.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. At this time, I will open a public hearing, and I will invite anybody wishing to speak in favor of or against this resolution to please come forward. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing.
As part of our
Oh, I'm sorry.
presentation, we're going to have everybody who's in attendance for the public hearing sign the sign-in sheet.
Very good. I missed that part of it. So we'll go ahead and move on while you folks, if you'd all please just make sure that you sign that you were in attendance tonight. We'd appreciate that. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft approving the following as they pertain to the city's Community Development Block Grant, CDBG program, Program Income Reuse Plan, Homebuyer Program Guidelines, Housing Rehabilitation Guidelines, and transfer of $115,000 from Fund 41, EDBG TARP Revolving Loan Fund, to Fund 40-CDBG Housing RLF for home buyer activities. I got through that.
That's a mouthful.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Miller?
I have no comment.
Mr. Knorr?
Just housekeeping. I have no comment. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Waldrop?
I have no comment.
Mr. Cryer?
No comment.
And I have no comment. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Pryor.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Councilmember Knorr.
Yes.
Councilmember Waldrop.
Yes.
Mayor Linder.
Yes, thank you. Item number 2 is also a public hearing on zoning ordinance amendment relating to permits and approvals. Mr. Jones.
Thank you. California Government Code Section 65800 provides for the adoption and administration of zoning laws, ordinances, rules, and regulations by counties and cities. The City of Taft is responsible for continually reviewing and updating the adopted zoning ordinance to ensure internal consistency and consistency with the adopted general plan. At the October 2nd, 2013 Planning Commission meeting, City staff presented draft amendments to the zoning ordinance regarding the site plan review process, walls and fence standards, the requirements for temporary signs. The commissioners provided direction to staff regarding all 3 items. yet wanted comprehensive revisions to the chapters as a whole in order to address their concerns for each item. At the December 4th, 2013 Planning Commission meeting, city staff presented the final draft of the amended to Chapter 2 of the zoning ordinance regarding permits and approvals, which the commission approved unanimously.
That word.
Yeah, when you say, with no further additions or deletions.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. At this time, I will open a public hearing and invite anybody wishing to speak in favor of or against this ordinance to please come forward. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and I'd entertain a motion to approve and amend the City of Taft zoning ordinance entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Taft amending Chapter 2 of Title 6 of the City of Taft zoning ordinance relating to permits and approvals for first reading and by title only, and the reading of such ordinance be waived.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Miller?
I have no comment.
Mr. Pryor?
It's the same thing, same thing, from the misspelled words and a few words and stuff. Thank you. This, correcting spelling and changing a few words, and it's basically about the same. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Waldrop?
No comment.
Mr. Nord?
I have nothing, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, and I have no comments. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Crier?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Norn?
Yes.
Councilmember Waldrop?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you. And that, both those items passed on a 5-0 vote of the council. Next item on the agenda is citizens' request for public comments. This is the time and the place for the general public to address the city council on matters within its jurisdiction. State law prohibits the council from addressing any issue not previously included on the agenda. Council may receive comment and set the matter for a subsequent meeting. We ask that you please limit your comments to 5 minutes. And I believe the only person wishing to speak tonight is Kathy Orrin with the Chamber.
Well, we're back here again. It was a long stretch there.
It was.
Yeah. I just wanted to let you know that we're officially starting our 2014 season because this Friday at the Chamber at 4 o'clock is the first 4th of July planning meeting. It's already here. So, anyone interested in joining with the Chamber on planning the 4th of July activities for this year, please come to the Chamber at 4 o'clock on Friday. Thursday, February 6th is the Chamber Installation and Awards Ceremony, and we're doing something a little different this year. It will be at the Fox Theater, and it will be a glitzy Hollywood red carpet affair. We'll have hors d'oeuvres, champagne, there'll be a bar, thank you, Mr. Crier, and the awards will be given. Corbin Burnson will be our speaker. The awards, the installation of our Board of Directors will happen, and we will have celebrities. Which leads me to this appeal. If you've ever been mistaken in the airport for someone you are not, and that someone that you've been mistaken for is a celebrity, please call the Chamber. We have a job for you. So that's February 6th at the Fox Theater, and you can get your tickets through us. The following night is Friday Cruise Night, and I just want to put a plug in for the Fort Dinner that's happening Thursday, January 30th. And also a reminder that your chamber has been awarded a Board of Trade grant, and so we will be putting up some more billboards, letting people know about Taft and the things that are available here. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Kathy. Next item is the Treasurer Report. Welcome back, Ben.
Thank you very much. This is the Treasurer's Report as of November the 30th, 2013. Really, there's very little change on a month-to-month basis. The current total operating cash and investments is $8,300,000, which is down $400,000 from the previous month, of which the general fund is the bulk of that decrease in funds. But property taxes start being collected now, so this will all be reversed. The sewer fund is up by 100,000 of $1,700,000. The wastewater treatment plant fund is down 100,000 at $3,600,000. And the transit fund is down $100,000 at $600,000. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben. Gentlemen,
Any questions?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Next item is council statements, non-action. Mr. Knorr.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to welcome everybody back after the holiday season. Hope everybody had a great holiday. We did, my family. Loved steak, and we stuck around Taft and just visited with people, and I always start the holiday at Art's Liquor. Every Christmas and every New Year's, I go there, and Greg and I have coffee at 4 a.m., and then usually finish our coffee before I go back home and start the festivities, so it's kind of one of those things. But anyway, welcome back after the holiday. There's something I just wanted to touch on that I didn't think I was going to do up here, but it's affecting not only my family's life, but all of my employees, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. And that is Obamacare, the great lie, the lie most told in the history of these United States. Now, I know everybody's heard different stories, and a lot of things are hearsay, so I'm going to tell you mine just ever so briefly. I believed that because my company for some time has been fortunate enough to offer quality health care to our employees, that we were going to maintain the status quo. The 37 times that our president said, if you like it, you can keep it in public addresses, I believed it. I truly believed that all those people with private insurance were going to lose those things, individual, but I didn't think companies would. But then I got a phone call. My company renews its insurance in July. I was contacted by our healthcare provider in December, and they said, Dave, you really need to consider coming back there and renewing early. Reason being is based on what's going on with Obamacare. If you don't, we anticipate the increase to you and your employees to be somewhere between 25 and 40%. That's affordable health care. One of the other things that we provided at our company was the option to take either a PPO, an HMO, or an HSA, which is a health savings account for people who aren't familiar with it. It's kind of like a 401k for your health. In other words, you can put money away now that's tax deferred, and then later on in life, hopefully it will be there for you and actually earn interest such that you have that nest egg to cover medical expenses when you truly need them, when you get older. Well, first, the current administration decided to cut in half the amount of money you could put into an HSA because after all, it is tax deferred. And looking for more income taxes, what better way than eliminate programs that are tax deferred? So they did that. And that same phone call I got about renewing early to avoid that 25 to 40% increase, I was informed that, oh, by the way, our HSA doesn't qualify under Obamacare, so it's going to completely disappear. So much for if you like it, you can keep it. So much for affordable health care. What is it, the Affordable Health Care Act? That is the most ridiculous name I have ever heard for what is taking place in these United States. Perhaps we should have called it the Rob Peter to Pay Paul Act, the Great Redistribution of Wealth Act, the First Great Step Towards Socialism Act. Any of those names would have been good. But to disguise what is happening by calling it the Affordable Health Care Act, that really pisses me off. That's like putting frosting on a dog turd and calling it a cupcake. It is the most ridiculous lie, and all the ill effects that we will all feel from this have yet even to be realized. It will get worse and worse. The last article I read regarding the signing up of the Affordable Health Care Act stated that they're getting more and more people, but that the ratio of those that are going to receive a benefit from the Health Care Act is extremely high, and the people that they have to have sign up, which are healthy people that are going to have to pay, is extremely low. So the providers are already saying that they anticipate a fairly substantial increase in the premiums for next year, and they haven't even finished the first sign-up period, for Christ's sakes. This change that people voted for, this mess, this redistribution of wealth, the old adage, a government that robs Peter to pay Paul can always count on the support of Paul. Well, Paul put him there, and everybody's going to feel the pain. Now, I know that we live in the city of Taft, and we're here to conduct the city's business. However, this is something that will have huge effects on every business, small business, private individuals. All of us are going to feel the ill effects of this tragedy that took place right here in these United States. I'm proud to tell you that I didn't put them there. Somebody did, but what will happen eventually remains to be seen. However, there is nothing affordable about it that I have seen. There is nothing good about it, nothing to cheer about. So he has his way. He told that lie 37 times in front of the cameras. I wanted to bring this up in front of you all because, like I say, we all read these third-party or hearsay and wonder what kind of spin people are putting on this thing. My employees did nothing wrong. They paid their dues, we pay our dues, and we were okay with that. To face a 25 to 40% increase for doing nothing wrong, how is that going to help us? How is that going to help any of my employees? How are they going to absorb that? That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Knorr, and I just want to clarify that you're talking about the proverbial Paul, not this Paul.
Oh, that's right. No,
I'm
no,
not
sir.
getting nothing, I'm getting absolutely nothing from Obamacare.
Thanks for that clarification. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor. I too hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and a great New Year's and had a very safe year so far. I'd like to remind what we have here in this town, and I always keep reminding people about our great institutions that we have here. We have American Legion Hall here. I've been there a couple of times, and it's not a whole lot of people go there. And we have a lot of veterans here in town, and we're very blessed to have one in this town here. And I'd like to encourage people who are veterans to support it, become members, and go there and enjoy the functions they have there. They're open 2 times a week, Friday and Sunday. On the third Saturday, they have a little potluck. They have their $2 for a meal. Can't beat it. It's really good. And I'd like to encourage everybody to go there and check it out. Become members to all these veterans. Because if we don't use it, we'll lose that too. Because everybody's getting old. We've got a lot of young ones out there from the different wars we had recently. And I'd also like to remind everyone about the Ford membership, annual membership Ford banquet we're having here on January 30th at 5 o'clock. That too, we should go ahead and support it, participate, become members, or at least have a meal there. Because they'll help run support, keeps the facility in tip-top conditions, and they're trying to raise some money to do some more modeling on there so it won't lose it in the future. Because if we don't keep it up, it will crumble. We won't have it after a time because it costs too much money to upkeep it if we don't get enough members and keep it going. And second is, in the last few weeks in the Bakersfield, California, there's been some articles written about Mexico and problems they're having there. And it kind of relates to us in our own country. And the problem they're having there is crime, drug cartel, corrupt officials, law officials and stuff. And in Mexico, they can't have weapons there. It's illegal to own weapons in Mexico. So the only ones that have weapons there are the criminals, the cartels, and the military and government. And in the town, in the province of Mochican, the citizens are taking their own law in their own hands. They've been making clubs, sticks, procure with limited weapons they can find to protect their little towns from the cartel. And they've been very successful. The government would not come and help them. For a while, they left them alone. They've captured and kicked out a lot of the drug cartel people. And lo and behold, the government comes in want to take the weapons and the clubs and sticks away from them, because, and they said, we'll be there, we'll defend you, just give us surrender your weapons. Well, the peasants, they don't want to let go of their weapons, because they know if they let go of their weapons, they lose their protection, and they're afraid of retribution from the people they're trying to keep away. It reminds me of this country here, the gun control and stuff. All the cities that have the strictest gun control have the highest crime. All the states that has the strictest states have the toughest crime. There's a lot of crime going on, and I feel if we don't remember our Constitution and our different amendments that we have, especially the Second Amendment, one day it's going to get worse when we lose our right to own weapons. And who's going to protect us? Can we rely on our government? I say not. You know, it's really important that we keep it, because we ourselves are the best judge of people and know our town, our citizens, or protect ourselves. Because my concern is if we don't remind our young folks and talk to and remind people what could happen without our God-given rights with our Constitution, we will lose it. It's so fragile nowadays. You know, we're all going to big government, let government protect us, surrender your weapons, or give us your rights. We're going to take care of your medical. You know, instead of having us pick our own medical, look, government, we're here to help you. That's what's kind of scary. Ronald Reagan says, it's on the few words to be afraid of. We're from the government, we're here to help. You know, just running like hell. But I'd want to remind people that, and how we do it in the future, is look around our world, what's happening in the world. All the bombs going off, the civilians getting killed. It's getting worse and worse. Why is that? I just want people to reflect on that and thank God that we have a country like we have right now, and protect our Constitution and our amendments so we won't lose it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Cryer. Mr. Waldron.
I would just like to thank everybody for what they've done for us in the past year. Hope your Christmas and New Year's was fine too, and hope we have another better year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Waldron. Mr. Miller.
Well, and I would agree that, Mr. Waldrop. We had a pretty decent year last year as far as the city goes. I mean, we didn't go broke, so
Yeah.
we're still here, we're still operating, and matter of fact, we didn't have a council meeting for a month, and things kind of hummed along without us, so, you know, things are working. And we appreciate the staff here that did work through the holidays. We're revamping the CCF out there and doing a lot of work, and the staff's doing a lot of recruiting, and we've got quite a few potential employees ready in the wings, and as soon as we pick an opening date, we'll be hopefully accepting prisoners and get going on it, and getting some income stream back into the city. Mentioning the fort, why the fort's you know, one of our landmark places in the community that we promote to have people come and visit. There's a dedicated board and 2 staff members down there that keep the place going. The fort is not supported by any kind of government handouts, and no grants or anything like that. They don't get any tax money or anything. So it's just the hard work and diligence of the board and the crew down there to keep it open and keep it nice for all the community. So this is their annual dinner. They're inviting folks to come down. To be a member of the fort is $15 a year. I mean, that's not much, and they're just asking for your support. So if you can do that, again, the annual dinner's on the 30th of this month, January. There was a recent letter to the editor, I believe it was in the Drill, well, it could have been in one of the papers, in regards to some of the buildings down on Center Street, and why can't the city do something about the empty buildings and stuff down there. People have got to realize that's private ownership, and we are very limited on what we can do. We can write letters, and we can try to cajole those folks to do something with their buildings and keep them, through code enforcement, to keep them clean and up to at least city specs. But you can't force people to rent those buildings out to people. And so we're doing all we can, even though it's not out in the public. But, you know, I'm sure the planning commission's very much concerned about that, as the city council is. It's slow-moving, but we're trying to market the city, and that will attract business to come to the city, and hopefully they'll come and look at some of these buildings. One of our big problems, again, is that most of the buildings uptown are owned by absentee landlords that don't live in the community and probably haven't seen their buildings in quite a few years. So it's a shame that we can't get something going, but be rest assured that we are working on it. We are concerned about it, but we do have to go by the law, and we just can't go onto their premises and paint their building or fix this or do that, because it's not our property to do that. So please be rest assured in the community. Hopefully the people who write letters like that will come down and attend some of our meetings and bring some ideas of what they think that we could do. We're always open, and you know, this is a good forum to bring that. And we'd love to put some pressure on these empty building owners and have them put some for rent signs on there. Let's try to do something, but we can't force them to do that. But public opinion is certainly a sway, and maybe we can get something going. So I know the chamber is concerned about it too. Well, Mr. Mayor, that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. I believe Mr. Cryer had one more.
I had one more comment I failed to mention. I'd like to thank the Lions Club, especially the Taft Lions Club and Juan Waldrop for the Toys for Taft. It was very, very successful. There must have been 50-plus bikes was given out. Yeah, a lot of people were involved with it, not only the Lions Club, all the different motorcycle groups that were involved out there collecting toys, bringing them in, all the different service clubs that raised toys and bought toys to for the Toys for Taft. It was great for the children this year. It was probably one of the best Christmas days I had in the years I can remember here, but it was very successful. I just want to thank the Taft Lions for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cryer. I appreciate that. That's a very notable comment. I was just thinking, listening to your comments tonight, that the City Council of the City of Taft is truly what I consider a part-time legislature. You know, and I may have related this story before, but I'm going to relate it again. I had the the opportunity to be in Carson City, Nevada, and one of the things I wanted to do is see the State House. It's a very beautiful building, and so I went there and I was speaking to the one person that was in the building, and he happened to be the kind of like the security guard docent. I asked him, I said, well, where's everybody at? And he says, oh, they won't be here for another year and 6 months. I go, huh? And he says, yeah. He says, they convene for 3 months every 2 years. And I said, well, that's pretty cool. He says, yeah. He says, we don't have the problems California has where they pass 3 bills a day that affects the working people. And it rings very true, because a part-time legislature only has time to deal with the really important stuff, such as budgets. And then basically what he says, and then all these people up here get their butts back to their real jobs. And I think Shannon Grove, I don't know where she is at it. I know it's failed a few times, but she has always pronounced that California needs a part-time legislature because they're spending too much time doing things that are counterproductive to the local working people. And I don't believe that politics is an occupation, and it's become an occupation. And it goes clear to Washington. Those people need to come back home and work in their neighborhoods and understand what's really going on instead of passing all the BS laws that they're doing that affect everything from taxes to what bathroom a student can use at school. So I appreciate your comments. The other positive thing I'd like to share with you is both the Westside Recreation and Park District and the Westside Healthcare District will be receiving Kern Regional Awards this year during their awards ceremony. I believe it's in March, I think it is. Both are very popular, very, very good things for the West Side. I was surprised at how few people even knew they existed when you are in Bakersfield. And so I'm pleased to have nominated both those organizations for the great work that they do in our community. And then Mr. Koenig had shared with me that The Veterans Administration is now coming to Taft once a month. They're actually bringing a large mobile office type thing to the Park and Rec District parking lot, and they're providing services to veterans who might not be able to get to Bakersfield or don't know those services are available. So if you know a veteran that is in need of assistance or just need of information, I urge you to call the Westside Rec and Park District, find out when they're here, and schedule an appointment. My understanding is...
Thursday, 9 to 2.
I'm sorry?
Third Thursday of the month, 9 to 2.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. It's a wonderful service. My understanding is they've already reached out and helped several veterans that were in need in this community, and I say if you can help one veteran, you've done a great thing. So appreciate all those efforts they do. So anyway, that's my comments, and we will move on to the Planning Commissioner report. I don't know, do we have no report tonight? Thank you. How about department reports? All right. City manager reports or statements.
Keep a roll going, I have nothing.
All right. City attorney statements. What?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. As you know, this is the part of the agenda where I normally have a significant, lengthy,
Yes.
and insightful legal discourse. But in honor of former city attorney Dave Prentice being here tonight, I know that wasn't his practice, so I will just have nothing for this evening.
Yes, well, thank you. We appreciate the freshness of that idea.
I didn't say that in any words, but...
Future agenda requests. Gentlemen, do you have anything that you would like to see on a future agenda? Seeing none. Before I go to the consent calendar, for those of you that don't know, if you wouldn't mind pointing the camera right over here at these two well-dressed gentlemen, they represent the City of Taft's legal counsel. Mr. David Prentice used to sit at the dais here with us and either got a better offer or something, and it's Dennis Cole, right? Coda, I'm sorry. I always get that mixed up. But they're here tonight I'm sure to apprise us of certain things, but we appreciate what the organization is doing for us too, so thank you. All right, we will move on to the consent calendar, items 11 through 15. All items on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the City Council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. I would ask now if there are any items on the consent calendar that any member of the public or the council would like to comment on or have removed. All right, seeing none, we will move on to the consent calendar, which are items number 11, the minutes of the December 17th, 2013 regular meeting, and I believe, Mr. Knorr, you're going to abstain on that?
Yes,
vote?
sir.
Item number 12 is payment of bills. Item number 13 is accepting a donation of $2,000 from the previous owner of the Quick Trip Liquor and Deli. Item number 14 is the Aramark Food Service Agreement Amendment Number 1, and this item is contingent on CDCR's approval. And item number 15 is Aramark Commissary Service Agreement Amendment Number 1, which is also contingent on CDCR approval of the contracts. So I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember North?
Yes on all items, but I do abstain from item number 11, as I was not here.
Councilmember Waldrop?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you. That concludes the business part of tonight's meeting, and the council will now convene to closed session. And those items that are on the closed session agenda are item A, conference with labor negotiator Craig Jones, city manager, Government Code Section 54957.6, all units. Item B is a conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9, Paragraph A, City of Taft versus the CDCR. Item C is conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9, Paragraph B, one case. And item D, performance evaluation, Government Code Section 54957, and this pertains to the city attorney's performance. At this time, I would entertain a motion, well, I'm sorry, we're just going to recess to closed session. Thank you for being here tonight.